Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, and me and Mara are hitting the road with little Tarun, our 9-year-old, my 9-year-old. Sort of yours, too. You do something with that kid a lot. Play around with him a lot, but we're going to hit the road today, and we're heading to see two of our Zoomers. First, Lori Pag and the Chief are going to meet us there, and then Road Rage and his brother and their families. We're going to go to Split,
Beautiful
Croatia.
Family. Road Rage, Velcro. These are good guys.
They're good. These are good guys, regular Zoomers. And I always wanted to go to Croatia, and we're going there tomorrow. I'm doing that live seminar there, Amplified Happiness. Show up if you're interested. You could just sign up at courses.vanischool, vanischool.com/happy. Courses.vanischool.com/happy. And just like little techniques, a way to find more joy in your life through studying yogic practices and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
Are you feeling joyful this morning?
I wasn't joyful this morning. I was sort of like woke up like, there's always like a rigmarole you got to go through to get out of the house and get to New York City and get in the airport and stuff like that. But, and I'm really bad because that's when I have to be a little bit more organized, and I tend not to be organized. I don't know if you picked up on this. I'm not super organized.
Have you applied the techniques?
No, I'm joyful. I'm joyful. I'm just not organized. I can't give a free seminar on how to be organized. That will be horrible. But I can tell you how to be joyful going through it.
Okay. Hey, I
What are you doing?
I got something because
You got something?
a couple shows back during the Q&A, we had that question about suicide, and then I wanted to find this reference. Remember that I thought was from Padyavali, but it's not.
Oh yeah.
But I found it.
Okay, we just got an email
But why
about
don't you-
that as well.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
it's a very, very, it's a very, very hot, sad topic that affects a lot of people. So
of course. Why don't
we
we
got a
have
lot
our
of feedback.
announcements? And
Okay,
First, Mara, you
Miss
ready?
Mara, please.
What you got?
We have back to recovery group meetings. The men meet at noon today and the women meet at 2 p.m.
Okay.
And there's no show tomorrow because we'll be traveling.
But we're back on Thursday.
Right. We'll be back on Thursday. And then there's a bunch of events coming up at Super Soul Farm in July and in September.
All
If
right.
you want to come up and join us.
Yeah, check out raghunath.yoga for all that info. Also, India is happening October 16th. We're going to Varanasi, Udaipur, Nathdwar, Rishikesh, Haridwar, and Vrindavan.
Oh,
Boom.
traveling.
all the holy places. Well, some of the things are just day trips. Like you can go to Nathdwar in a day,
That's
come back to
true.
Udaipur, Haridwar in a day, come back. I'm excited. I'm excited to be by the Ganges again. Excited to go back to Govardhan Hill. We stay at Govardhan now. That's sort of like the hot spot to stay.
Your father is counting on you bathing in the Ganga.
That's what the mystic told me.
Yeah.
Every time you bathe in the Ganga, benefits your father.
Okay. So we were just briefly, we were discussing suicide. There was a question about suicide, remember? And
Yes.
And I think we both said, it's a sensitive topic, it's a sad topic. We can't sugarcoat it and just say that, oh, if someone commits suicide, everything was fine in their life. It can be very challenging. But we said that the special bright side of this is that if you are a devotee of Krishna, he's very soft. He's very he's influenced by the love of his devotees, and our faith is that the prayers, the rituals of a devotee of Krishna for the benefit of that person, it touches Krishna's heart. He can make their future brighter, right?
Yeah.
And remember, I said, oh, there's a quote. I was trying to think of the quote. I thought it was from or a verse. I thought it was from Padyavali. It's not. It's from the Sri Govinda Lilamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Okay? Okay, this is the verse. Think of this is
I want
really
to hear
nice.
this.
The sun is naturally warm.
Mm-hmm.
The moon is naturally cool.
That's what they say.
The earth is naturally tolerant.
Sure.
The wind naturally restless.
Yeah, sure.
The saints naturally grave.
The who?
Saints, the
The
sadhus.
saints are grave? Yeah,
naturally
they're grave. The saints have been grave, notably grave.
And the ocean naturally deep.
Very deep. Some places, especially.
Similarly, Krishna is naturally controlled by love. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami.
Okay.
Oh, is that it? Oh,
No, it's a great verse, but I'm trying to think, like, you
bereft
built
of
this
all-
whole thing up like, I'm suffering from the pain of a loss of a loved one. You're like, this is going to get you. And I'm just trying to, can you put that piece in the puzzle?
I just put it in context for you listening. I said that, it's unfortunate, it's sad, and it can lead to dark places for people to commit suicide. But the important thing is that the devotee has a lifeline to Krishna's heart, and that Krishna is naturally controlled by their love, and Krishna is in control of everything. So the point is that if the devotee really cares about this person, Krishna is natural. This verse is saying, what's the primary characteristic of the sun? It's its heat, it's its warmth, of the earth. It's supporting so much. It's naturally tolerant. The wind is naturally restless. It's going this way, it's going that. What is the nature of Krishna? What is God? What is his heart like? Who is he all? What is he all about? He's all about being moved. His joy is to be moved by the love of his devotee. That's what he's all about. The question isn't even there, is can he be moved by the love of his devotee? This is the
So you're saying if I have someone that I love that's committed suicide, it's benefiting them, or you're saying the person that committed suicide,
I'm
they
saying
were a
that
devotee.
If you know someone that has,
Okay.
your prayers, your rituals, your thoughts, your love for them will touch Krishna's heart, and he can make their ride much more. That's such a beautiful. I can't believe you responded that way. What was that? Yeah. So what?
No, it wasn't. Yeah. So it was
you gave me this Vinny Barbarino.
Connect the dots, because I was struggling. I was struggling emotionally with my own struggles, and I was ready for some relief.
Then you say,
but it was okay. I can get that. I hear you. I just wanted to see where angle. I thought, I tend to sometimes my circuits go down, and then when the power comes back on, I was like, did I miss something? But I missed nothing with that, and I was just trying to figure it out. Okay, I understand that point, and I think it's a good point.
Okay.
I would, I'm taking that same thing and saying, even in this life,
Yeah.
without people dying that I love, I see that when I make an endeavor towards my spiritual life, it affects people. And it even affects them in the sense like, yeah, my brother's into Krishna, or yeah, they might what to speak of people like Mara's family who like listen to the podcast. My family probably never listens to the podcast. But they might. You never know. Or their friends, they might mention in passing that, yeah, my brother did a podcast, blah, blah, blah. The fact is, the name of Krishna is all auspicious and has ripple effects that we don't even know. And I know your cousin or something, or niece listens to the show or something like that.
My cousin,
Your
Dan
cousin
Reeve,
listens to the podcast.
it's often there on Zoom. I
Yeah,
also have I have two cousins
that listen.
that listen to the show.
So what happens is Kostuba's very focused on Krishna. And then there's people who are sort of like interested in their spiritual life. And they said, well, my cousin's into this. He's really into it. And that's exuding from you, and it's tagging them, and it's affecting them. And we don't really understand how evolved these people might even be. They might be very, very evolved people that just need a little, the train might be just off the track a little. And just by knowing you or hearing about you, you're setting them, completely recalibrating them, and or radically changing them. Like, yeah, what was I thinking? What was I doing with this type of indulgence in A, B, C, and D? Oh yeah, I've been out of control. I've been overwhelmed. I lose my cool. How can I be the opposite of that? And it just sets a high bar for people who are even struggling in this world to say, you can do that. I know somebody who's doing that, and I've seen people in my life change, just very indirectly, not because I was going out and pointing my finger. You should be like this. But it's actually they've changed somehow indirectly just from the energy you put out there. So my point is that doesn't just happen in this life. There's people connected us that are still beings that are still floating about that are getting affected by you. Why? Because they're sort of attached to you, and and their love for you affects their spiritual journey, even though they may be out of the body that we knew them in.
Okay.
How about that? And that is Krishna's love, of course.
Okay.
Now you're giving me the same reaction. Yeah,
No,
okay,
no.
maybe.
No,
that could
you
be
didn't give me
something.
that. You gave me nothing. You're like, yeah, so what?
Well, what did you give me?
Whatever.
What did you just give me? You just go like, yeah, okay. Thank you. Next, please. Next. Like I'm at a deli or something. Next, please. I know, but I snapped out of it quick. I was grumpy before the show started when I was saying hello to everybody, and then I jumped back in. I did a state change.
Okay, okay. Let's snap it again. All right, we got a nugget today. You want to read the nugget?
Yes. I have to do so many things today before I get in that car.
Yeah, you're grumpy. I'm
not grumpy. I'm joyful.
The grumpiness amplified.
I will say Mara is a good partner. She
Yeah,
helps me so much.
Keeps it going. I can tell.
She helps me so much.
There you go. She helps you when you get a little grumpy. She says, "Hey, no need to be grumpy. Everything's good." Huh?
Oh, look, Parker Palmer.
I help you
by
too.
Parker Palmer.
Do you know who Parker Palmer is?
No, I know Parker Posey is.
Who's Parker Posey?
She's an actress.
Okay.
Can you say actress anymore? Or do you have to say everybody's an actor?
Actor? I don't know.
She's.
Let's go.
She used to come to my yoga classes.
Okay, Parker Palmer.
Who's Parker Palmer?
He's an American author, educator, and activist who focuses on issues in education, community leadership, spirituality, and social change. He's published 10 books, numerous essays and poems.
You're making it sound like you know this, but you're reading it from something. You're like, oh, he's blah, 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 blah. Can't fool me, Kostuba.
Anyway, he's a writer and a poet. I think it had something to do with the Quakers too. There's some connection with the Quakers. Okay.
Good. Okay, Parker Palmer. Here you go. I think that the pursuit of happiness is the pursuit of reality, because illusion never leaves us ultimately happy.
I'm gonna read that again. Break it down like the way that I divided it up for you. Just one line at a time.
I think the pursuit of happiness, right?
There you go. A little
What's the
pause.
pursuit of happiness? Moving, planning. How can I be happy? It's going out there to try to make everything right.
Yeah.
And the pursuit of actually the
Real
actual
happiness.
fruit of that tree is it's really reality, because illusion never leaves us ultimately happy. Our running for the mirage never like quenches the thirst. If I'm hot, I can't dive in the mirage pond. It doesn't leave me with anything. There's nothing there. So yeah, what is reality? Reality is our default. I like this. I like how we always bring it back to essentially what we are. Essentially, what we are underneath it all is a pure, spiritual, eternal, joyful being. And I just have to figure that out. It's good to know what to talk us back to, because in the pursuit of self-understanding, self-actualization, or self-realization, you have to know what you're looking for. If I say go look for gold, you got to know what the qualities of gold are. You know,
Right.
you're digging through all this yellow stuff. That's the gold. Well, no, there's something behind there, right? You got to know what you're looking for. That's what we're looking for,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Satchitananda, eternality, deep inherent truth or wisdom or understanding, and this bliss, this natural bliss of the soul.
It's comes down to your old T-shirt, that you used to have that.
Up
that
your
I once
nose with a
saw
rubber hose. That one.
No, a shelter T-shirt.
Do you remember that shirt? Up your nose with a rubber hose.
I remember that statement.
It was a T-shirt.
Okay.
The Fonz A. Remember that T-shirt? Everyone had that shirt.
Mara just gave a nod. She just gave one of those. Right?
Mara's so young, she doesn't know that. Only Chief Pag knows that shirt. A.
Okay.
Everybody had that shirt. Okay,
all right.
go on.
John. Okay. So now I completely forgot what I was going to say. You just.
It was something about your nose and a rubber hose.
No, it had to do with Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, remember that shelter shirt.
The shelter shirt.
Self-realization, not sense gratification. That one.
Exactly.
Right. That wasn't my quote, of course.
I know it wasn't your quote, but
I'm not even sure it was Prabhupada's, was it?
It's probably just a paraphrasing.
Self-realization, not
human
sense
life
gratification.
Prabhupada probably said like human life is meant not for sense gratification, but for self-realization. Right?
It's a great statement. Self-realization, not sense gratification.
Well, the key to life, the key to happiness is there, and that's the point, right? Because we might say that our default, like our kind of program default, is to search for happiness through external things. What if we shifted that? What if we kind of like accepted what is plainly obvious everywhere that we look, that any kind of happiness that we get through externals, ultimately it doesn't leave us ultimately happy. Some people may say, well, that's just life, but why stop there? Why assume that we're destined for suffering, we're destined for misery? Why not say maybe there's a purpose to the misery? Particularly, we were talking over the weekend also about different ways of understanding what is true. There's through direct perception, there's through inference, and then there's something called the chintyam, which means that we can hear testimony that's beyond what we can infer, beyond what we can perceive directly. And there's these ancient texts. They've got a lot of credibility. They've been around for a very long time. Nobody's saying you have to just accept them blindly. But isn't life worth experimenting with them a bit, engaging with them a bit? And if they've got this theory, interesting theory, right? That the self by nature is happy. You just need to uncover it. You need to stop chasing after through external things. Then really our pursuit of happiness, it becomes almost like that pursuit of happiness is almost like a sugar fix, Yeah. Whereas like the pursuit of why don't we just pursue reality? And the promise is there that once you actually attain reality, once you actually know who you really are and experience that, you'll have all the happiness that you want. Actually, then you'll actually be happy. So the pursuit of happiness is actually, let's shift our idea of how we pursue it. Let's pursue reality, not worry about happiness, and naturally we become happy.
This brings me to that Bhagavad Gita verse. You know what verse I'm thinking of?
Yeah, you go to that one a lot, right? What is it? 5th chapter, 520, is it?
Yehisham Sparshaja Boga. That one?
Yonaya evate.
Avyanti Yanta Konteya Nateju Ramate Buddha. Those who are intelligent do not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so the wise do not delight in them.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Those who are wise do not take part in the sources of misery. They're causing, the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is calling pleasure. He's actually calling it pain. Why? Because it's fleeting. It's there and it's gone. It was good, and now I'm full, and now I ate too much, and so most people in the material world, they just got to be balanced. We got to find the balance. Krishna's saying, no. It's not just titillating the senses. There's an underlying pleasure that's in everything. That it doesn't matter if you eat a lot or if you eat a little. It doesn't matter if you stuff yourself or just if you're fasting. The real pleasure is from the seva underneath it, the love that's offered. Right? Like you can actually eat a big feast of prasad and feel actually happy if you're doing it in appropriate consciousness. And the stories of like Durvas Muni, when he got offered all that prasad coming from Krishna, and he ate it all, and he's usually very, very fastidious in his eating, but because he wasn't eating for his pleasure, he was eating because he was feeling the joy and the love of the prasad. In the same way, a mother or a parent who cooks the food for the kid barely has to eat because there's so much love in that offering. Or the person who's preparing, I know Mara, Mallory, Bobby Marchand, Rasik here at the Super Soul Farm, they cook with so much love, and then everyone's enjoying the prasad. And you say, "Are you guys going to eat?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll eat something." You know, they're barely eating,
right?
Because their joy is coming from the service of preparing for everybody. It's such a beautiful thing to witness. I'm usually just sitting and eating and trying to find the pleasure there. Where's the pleasure? Maybe it's in that other glove jamun. I need another glove jamun to find pleasure. If I have one more, right?
Yeah. Yeah. One more.
One more will do it. Oh, Krishna.
Okay, Raghunath. That's a good.
All right.
That's a good way to look at it, though.
So the
Experiment
wise
with
do not delight. Experiment with, yeah.
Search for
Okay.
truth.
So now we're going to dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam. That will blow your mind. Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day. Srimad Bhagavatam. This will blow your mind. Every day. We really got to refine our tagline. Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't miss it.
You keep working on that, like off the show, okay?
Yeah. Okay, message. Okay, Zoomers.
got
Get some
23
good
hours a day to figure
subtitles
that
for
one
this
out.
on the board. Srimad Bhagavatam. Boom. Put something on there. And if I like it, I'll read it. And if I don't like it, I might read it too, just to laugh. Okay. Narayanam namaskrityanam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam madirayat. Before reciting our Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan, Rishi, the supermost human being. Unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. And to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiti. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Yeah.
Yes. Before we go any further, remember to like this show, follow us, hit the bell icon, leave comments, and spread it. Spread it to friends. We feel like this is the most important information out there. We feel like this is the panacea. Is that the word? Panacea?
Panacea.
Panacea. Panacea. Panella. What's the Italian dessert? Panella? Or... Panicotta. We feel like it's the panicotta of all sacred literature. Okay. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 38.
And Mother Earth is wrapping up her prayers to Lord Vishnu.
Mother, okay. We have 2 more prayers.
You know what happens next chapter?
Mother Earth takes a break.
No, more the
Mother
same.
Earth, what?
We're going to continue to travel through the universe, and we're going to hear from more people. Like next, we hear from Hanuman.
Ooh.
And we
What
hear
does
from the
Hanuman have to
demigods.
say?
We hear from Narada and someone else. I forget, but we're going to hear from some good people as we travel to the other places in the universe.
Mm-hmm. All right, sir.
Okay. Text 38. Mother Earth speaking.
Text 38. This is beautiful. Oh Lord, this is Mother Earth. You do not desire the creation, maintenance, or annihilation of this material world. You don't desire it, but you perform these activities for the conditioned souls by your creative energy. Exactly as a piece of iron moves under the influence of a lodestone. What? Inert matter
Lodestone
moves
is like a
when...
natural magnet.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
A lodestone? You looked
Lodestone.
that up.
Huh?
I've never heard you say lodestone. You must have looked that up.
I looked it up.
Okay.
That's allowed.
Yeah, you're allowed to look it up. But you said, yeah, you were like, yeah, it's like a natural magnet.
Well, that's what it is.
Like you read that bio of the guy. Yeah, he's a...
You're trying. What's weird?
Oh, I would love to find a lodestone. Mara showed me pictures of one in Wikipedia right now. Just like stones that are natural magnets.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, you desire creation, maintenance, or annihilation of this material world, but you perform these activities for the conditioned souls by your creative energy, exactly as a piece of iron moves under the influence of a lodestone. Inert matter moves when you glance over the total material energy.
Yeah. So there's kind of 2 references here to Krishna's detachment, in a sense, right? It's like we work to make this world move because we're very attached to getting a certain result. He's moving the entire world. He's the one that's actually doing it, but not because of any desire of his own, but only to fulfill the desires of all of us. And he does it like a lodestone, like the lodestone or a magnet. It doesn't need to touch, like, you have those iron filings, right? And
Yeah.
you just move the magnet. The magnet doesn't even have to touch them. Doesn't even have to get dirty. It just, from a distance, it can move it, right? Almost like the magnet is a little mystical, isn't it? How it
They're
works.
very mystical things.
Yeah. 2 things that just stick together. Like
It's unbelievable. Or repel each other.
or repel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Krishna said that he just glances over the material energy. He glances over it, and we're born into, like, he impregnates us into this universe. He glances over it, and invests the 3 modes of material nature that makes it all start to move. He can glance over it and download time and install time right into it. He can install the law of karma just with his glance. He doesn't have to get dirty. When he comes into this world, he doesn't even really exactly come into it, right? He comes into it, he brings the spiritual world, puts it in the material world, and then enters into the spiritual world within the material world.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I really wish I went to that Konark temple back in like 1,000, hundreds of years ago.
Floating.
Just see that deity. They had that giant lodestone.
Now it's become part of your repertoire.
Yeah, it's part of my repertoire. The giant lodestone, a massive one, and it made the deity float in the air. Imagine walking into the temple.
Been pretty
You would like bow down immediately to Surya Dev. Unbelievable.
So let's hear the commentary, Ragnar.
Oh, you want the commentary at 38? All right. You
Yes,
got that.
please.
I wonder if they're going to talk about that floating deity. Sometimes the question arises why the Supreme Lord has created this material world, which is
Why?
so full of suffering. that comes up a lot, actually.
Actually, I gotta share something
On a
like that.
regular basis. As I get older, more and more people are saying things like this.
Well, you know, I was with Radna's farm yesterday,
Yes, do
and
tell.
and while I was knocking on the door outside the apartment that he was in, I could hear a tape of Srila Prabhupada. He was listening to a tape of Srila Prabhupada speaking.
Mm.
And then he turned it off and he came and he answered the door and we went into the room and I said, "Oh yeah, I could hear Srila Prabhupada." He said, "Oh yeah." And he was just smiling and laughing. And he said, "Let me play you something." And he played me what he was listening to earlier. And it was Prabhupada speaking in Hawaii. And at the end of his talk, a young lady asks, "Why does Krishna create the material world? Or why does Krishna have external energy? Why does he have the material energy?" Like that. And Prabhupada can be so humorous sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So he said, "Well, you are a very nice young lady, and still, you are passing stool and urine. Does that mean that you're not a nice young lady?" You know? It was just his logic.
It's an interesting way to put it.
In other words, Krishna is wonderful. Just because he creates the material energy doesn't mean that he's not wonderful, you know. And anyway, it was funny. Okay, please continue.
That is a good one. Yeah. What?
And then he went on to say, "In the worm, he actually thinks the stool is good." You know, he was just saying.
That's called Maya. The
Yeah.
worm is loving the stool.
Right.
All right. Continuing on.
Sometimes the question, let me start again.
Moving past stool and urine.
Yes, sometimes the question arises.
We can go through what do they call it? We can be like before 7 o'clock, and we can talk about stool and urine for like mention it a few times before 7 o'clock even comes around. All right.
By the way, did you bathe this morning, Ragnar?
Did I bathe? Yes, I did bathe, smarty pants. Yes, I did bathe. Thank you. Okay. And I shaved my head on top of that.
Excellent.
First I shaved my head, then I bathed.
And then you shaved your head after.
And I jogged a little too. I went for a little jog.
Oh, okay. Look at you.
Yeah.
Why are you so grumpy this morning then?
I wasn't grumpy until you made me grumpy.
Okay, let's start it over again.
Okay, the workings of nature are not going on automatically.
What you? I don't think you read that whole paragraph. Start it all fresh.
Sometimes the question arises why the Supreme Lord has created this material world, which is so full of suffering for the living entities entrapped in it.
Why?
Yeah, why? There's good people out there. God, why are you doing this to us? The answer is given herein. Is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not wish to create this material world just to inflict suffering on the living entities. The Supreme Lord creates this world only because the conditioned souls want it.
We want a virtual reality.
You get a teenager, Kastuba. It's like, no, I want to stay out late. No, I want to do this. I'm begging my kid. I've raised this kid with organic everything. I practically infused him with sunflower sprouts and, fresh squeezed juices, organic grapes, and he goes out and buys a Pepsi yesterday. I was like, are you kidding? No, he bought this blue raspberry. It was like bug juice. I was like, you're going to put that in your body. He's like, try it. Try it. It's really good. I was like, I'm not going to put that in the temple. This is the temple. What is the matter with you? What are you thinking? Why would you do that? You're into sports. You're into athleticism. Why are you going to consume that? Don't you understand? Your body is like a machine. You're going to run it like.
So let me get this straight. You're Krishna in this analogy, freaking out like this.
I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just pissed off at my kid.
And your son is like the living entity that's trying to enjoy something that's just
in
pain.
Yeah, he wants to enjoy it, and it's not good for him because and after a while you're just like, you know what? I love you. You do whatever you want, but. Okay.
That's the Krishna.
If you were to ask
more like
me,
Krishna that freaking out like that, right?
Yeah. If you were to ask me, and there is a reaction, like he's going to wake up with a stomach ache, or it's not going to system, or that bug juice could give you diabetes. It's so sweet. But the point is, he's going to suffer a reaction for that, despite whatever I do. That is the gunas. That's the law of karma. That is Yamaraj and his assistants.
So maybe
he's going to get some karma because of his choices, not because I'm going to punish him for drinking the juice.
Okay, there's that.
Booyah!
And maybe sometimes being a good parent, it just requires you saying, okay, if that's what you want to do, drink it. But I'm telling you, that you're not going to feel good after you drink it, or what, if it was like a more, if we could see like some more immediate suffering that developed from it, it would be helpful for the analogy, right? But sometimes that's what the parent does, and then someone might say, why are you making your kid drink that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making him drink it. He's just kind of insisting, and I'm not controlling him, but I'm advising him. I'm giving him good advice, and it's up to him to kind of come around to it, All right. Let's keep going. The workings of nature.
The workings of nature are not going on automatically. It's only because the Lord glances over the material energy that it acts in wonderful ways. Just as a lodestone magnet.
You love it.
I love that word. Just as a lodestone causes a piece of iron to move here and there, because materialistic scientists and so-called Sankhya philosophers do not believe in God. Right? There's some types of Sankhya philosophies. It's just happening in the material world. It's just the cause and effects of stuff, of matter, of the elements.
That's what we were talking about last week when we said someone may break down the Mona Lisa into all of its elements, the oil, the pigments, the canvas.
See how the pigments are combining to create another color.
But ignoring the fact that there's a painter behind it. So here he's saying so-called Sankhya philosophers, they're breaking it all down, but they're avoiding what should be obvious, that there's someone behind it.
Right? It should be obvious.
Obvious.
It should be obvious. But we've been taught from childhood, so we see what we believe what we see. It's such a stupid thing to say.
Okay.
We can't see
Gotta
anything.
infer a little bit from it.
Got to infer a little.
What to speak of hearing from.
You know what? We're just sick of religion. Everybody's sick of religion.
Yeah, that's the point.
And that's what it is. We're like, don't tell me about your dumb God. I got news for you. Here's the news. Material world without God's even more dumb.
Okay. Your
God started all these wars. No, the ego of everybody started all these wars.
Okay.
It's just like my kid. It's just like the bug juice created his stomach ache. I didn't do it. He did it himself.
He chose to drink the bug juice.
Yeah.
You see, because what they're saying is, no, you made the bug juice. Okay, I made the bug juice because he was begging for it. I didn't want to make him bug juice. He just said, give me bug juice. Give me bug juice. So I made him some bug juice.
Did you used to use that word bug juice when you were little?
A little bit.
It's like the cheapest type of sweetened juice you could buy.
Bug juice.
You get it at like summer camp, bug juice. Tang. My mother would buy us Tang. Ever have Tang?
Tang was a thing. They thought it was healthy.
They pushed Tang like it was some type of superfood.
Yeah.
When we were young.
Just a bunch of sugar with some artificial vitamin C in it.
Oh, the stuff, the science. The science said it was really healthy for you. Trust the science. Kool-Aid's good. Tang is good. Tang they took to the moon. You got to have it.
Astronauts.
They didn't go to the moon. If they did go to the moon, they brought Tang. And they survived on it.
So we're going to, Prabhupada here, he's
okay.
What's he getting at?
Oh.
He's saying the workings of material nature.
The workings of nature are not going on automatically. It's only because the Lord glances over the material energy that it acts in wonderful ways, just as a lodestone causes a piece of iron to move here and there. Because materialistic scientists and so-called Sankhya philosophers do not believe in God, they think that the material nature is working without supervision. But that is not the fact.
Yeah.
Jack. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the creation of the material world is explained as follows. I'm going to skip the Sanskrit or Bengali here. Here's the quote, though. Atheistic Sankhya philosophers think that the total material energy causes cosmic manifestation. It just self-manifests. But they are wrong. Dead matter has no moving power, and therefore it cannot act independently.
Okay.
The Lord infuses the material ingredients with his own creative potencies. Then, by the power of the Lord, matter moves and interacts.
Okay. So in other words, this is getting to the, what they call theologians or philosophers call the problem of evil, right?
The problem of evil. It sounds like a movie.
Evil, and evil meaning like suffering, right?
Okay.
Like if God is both how could there be the idea that there's a compassionate and omnipotent God seems when we observe the suffering in this world, it seems that we can't reconcile that God could be both compassionate and omnipotent, right? If he's all powerful and he cares about us and doesn't want us to suffer, then he would stop the suffering, right? You with me, Raghunath? You even here?
I'm with you.
Okay.
Holding on.
So it's a very simplistic kind of way of looking at things. Prabhupada in this commentary, he's getting at this. You know, he's saying that, hey, why did he create the world? He didn't create it because he wants us to suffer. He created it because we're asking for it. And so then, but if we see suffering, we may say, well, if we're suffering, there can't be any God behind it. Right? So that's a childish conclusion. It's not approaching this question with the kind of seriousness and thoroughness that it deserves. You know, who shared an interesting thing on this was a spiritual scientist.
Yeah, what do you say?
He gave this sports analogy. Like, let's say you go to a baseball. Let's say you show up at a baseball game kind of like mid through it, right?
I bet the spiritual scientist never went to a baseball game.
I bet he hasn't gone to a baseball game as well.
Maybe a cricket game. Okay, go on.
Well, when he said it, it was cricket.
Okay.
Yeah. But so let's say Raghunath shows up at Yankee Stadium in like the fourth inning, okay? And he looks up at the scoreboard, and one team has 4 runs and the other team has 0.
Right.
So you might come to different conclusions, like there must be like no person keeping score here because this is unfair. You know, like one team has 4 runs.
Okay, I
and
like
the other
that.
team has 0. There
like
must
that
be
analogy.
no umpire, no rules to this game. It must just be random chaos.
It's random chaos. It's completely unfair. Why does this team have 4 and this team have 0? Totally unfair. This world is unfair because this is what or
they're saying that there's no God. Like there's no scorekeeper here. There's nobody keeping this thing fair. All right.
Yeah.
So like that's like saying
I like
there's
this.
no God.
I like that analogy.
Well, no, there's more to it. You're going to really like it. Or the conclusion they could come to is the scorekeeper is biased here. He's not fair. Right? So either there's the first one, like there's no God. The second one is God's not good or God's not compassionate. God's not fair. Right? If we see suffering in this world, one person is born with lots of money and comforts. Another person is born without any. Well, maybe there's no God. Maybe God's not fair. Right? Or you could say, oh, the scorekeeper has been influenced by a more powerful force. Right? Like somebody's got a gun at the head of the scorekeeper, and that's why one team has 4 and the other doesn't. Right? So like God is not omnipotent. Either there's no God, God's not fair or not compassionate, God's not powerful, not omnipotent. These are the kind of it's this kind of simplistic thought. Or there's a 4th possibility. There's a 4th possibility, for crying out loud. That the scoreboard is displaying a score that's based on previous play.
There you go.
Okay. that what the suffering that we're seeing here in this world is due to something that occurred previously. And that we call karma, right? So the fact that one person was born with a silver spoon and one person wasn't doesn't mean that there's no God. Doesn't mean that God isn't good or fair. Doesn't mean that God isn't all powerful. It means that there's something that led up to this. Everything's fair, but there's something previous that we're not seeing. You showed up in the 5th inning. Yeah, you can expect that the score is not going to look even, right? But there is an
analogy.
umpire.
I'm going to steal it. I'm going to use it.
There is an umpire. There are rules. It is fair. Everything's going exactly as it should be. It's perfectly ordered, but it's just reflecting previous play, right? So that's the point.
Hey, great analogy. I'm stealing it. I'm using it. I'm calling it my own.
Okay.
Paramananda brings up a question, which is a good question.
Yeah.
And I'm going to. Paramananda has questioned the Vedas, and now I've lost complete faith in all of this. Here's his question: if matter has no power to act, how can we explain a lodestone? It's matter, and it has the ability to move iron. Stuba, there is a crack in your philosophy.
Well, I mean, there's a law of gravity that appears to be acting. There's so many things that appear to be acting, but the lodestone, its power, its function is designed by a designer that's behind it.
Yeah, the Lord's glance makes the gunas happen, and the gunas will react with each other because of the Lord. It's all the Mona Lisa is beautiful.
The sun is radiating heat.
Yeah. Kastuba, how does the sun radiate heat?
Because
because there's no God. How does anything do anything in the material world? We're just saying there's God behind it.
God's behind it. But here's something to meditate on, Raghunath, in relation to all this. We expect that if we put in a certain effort in this world, everything is going to go smooth. It's kind of like, if I put in the effort, then why am I unhappy? If I put in the effort, then why did things go wrong? But really, what if the world is designed in a different way? What if it's designed to show us that no matter how much effort we put in the end, things don't go smooth? And that maybe we need to learn to operate with that expectation, that if I expect that things won't go smooth in this world, and if I want to be happy, I need to connect. This is going back to our nugget, right? That I need to connect with something that's like internal rather than external. But that's going to take like serious
introspection,
internal work. Yeah, introspection, internal work. We can't be lazy about that. We got to work hard on that. The universe is fair. The universe is well designed. There is a brilliant intelligence that's compassionate and fair behind it. But if due to my previous actions, I'm 5 runs down in the 5th inning, I need to start working hard to catch up, All
right, Timothy Tucker, he brings up a point, and I want to hear what you say about this. He says, rather than think that this world is unfair, I like to think it's more like there is no such thing as fair. How would you say that? What do we say to that? Well, rather than to think this world is unfair, I like to think it's more like there is no such thing as fair.
I suppose we have to define fair, but
okay.
Let's pull up the definition of fair. Mara, is Mara on that?
Equitable. She's on it. She stopped her knitting, put her needles down. Fair. There's going to be lots. Marked by impartiality, honesty, free from self-interest, prejudice, or favoritism.
So I would say there is fairness in the universe.
Now people, okay, all right, okay. This is going to stir up a lot of It appears unfair.
It could appear unfair because just like, again, if you walk into a baseball game in the 4th inning, it appears unfair if the score is not even.
Right. And another interesting thing for devotees, because Krishna just pulls out these devotees in the same way a parent has special relationships with the kids who are reciprocating love. Just like if your kid doesn't reciprocate love, it's not like you don't love them anymore, but it's like you can only be so much in their life, right? When there are children that are reciprocating love, then you're
getting more from you.
Yeah, yeah. And so
really, they're just receiving more from you. They're choosing to receive,
This is going back to the original statement of the nugget.
They're just receiving.
Or of your padyaval, or of your quotation, right?
Yeah.
So Krishna's extra interested in your life. And so sometimes devotees will go through some heavy reversal, but it's not like a regular reversal of life. It's not like a regular, hot mess express. It is like Krishna specially giving you something to purge something out of your being. I get this a lot. Like, I feel like the material energy is like chipping away, to get some type of gold down there. And sometimes when to get that diamond, you got to chip into all this extra stone to get to the heart of it. And I feel like the material energy is like breaking me. Sometimes I'm in tears. And I was like, Krishna is trying to really purify me right now. And that's what I'll resort to. He's trying to really make me not take shelter of these things that I've always been take shelter of, some type of like position or some type of, self-importance or some type of wealth or some type of dependence or some type of, he just breaks that open. So I have nothing left to depend on. And Krishna just wants to bring me higher. And so that is the so-called reversal of the material world. And it's beyond fair. It's blessed. It's blessed.
If there's anything that's not fair, in other words, let's say you take let's say someone just pops in to the United States out of outer space.
It's happening, by the way. That is happening right now.
And they look around, they say, why are these people locked up in these jail cells? This isn't fair. Some people are wandering around just totally free.
Ooh, I like this.
And you got these other people, they're locked away and they have no freedom. This isn't fair.
Yeah.
And you're saying, no. One, there was some previous history that led to this, what appears to be unfair. And second is, it's reformatory. It's meant to make them better people. It's ultimately meant to bring them greater happiness, right? It's like only when I learn how to function within society, according to the
rules.
You could say
society.
rules, but yeah, according to the necessary, rules of respecting one another. Until I learn that, I have to go through this reformatory process. It's actually helpful. And if there's anything that's unfair, it's actually the idea that I could receive a pardon if I demonstrate that I want to be reformed.
And that pardon being that even in the midst of so-called unfairness, you have this heart of gratitude. Even at the midst of being scorned, put down, cheated, you have the reaction, not the overreaction, the underreaction. The underreaction when you feel like, oh, I'm going to get them. You let go of that. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to love them anyway. This is powerful.
Yeah. The criminal sitting in prison has to ask themselves, if it wasn't for this reformatory, what do they call it? Penal system. Would I ever reform myself? And we have to ask ourselves, if I didn't go through suffering in this world, would I do that hard internal work to actually become free? Or would I just get lazy and lie around?
Srimad Bhagavatam, beyond fair. Good night, everybody.
You're just looking for something.
I know. It was Roger Tompkins came up with that. It was pretty good.
Okay. I think we're done for today, Ragnar.
It's that time of day.
Why don't we read the last verse and that'll end the chapter? Just read that last verse.
Okay. Here's the last verse. Mara.
Text 39.
Yeah, I know. Mara's knitting. My Lord, as the original bore, that's B-O-A-R, not B-O-R-E. Krishna is not boring, not one bit. My Lord is the original bore within the universe. What? You fought and killed the great demon Hiranyaksha. Then you lifted me, the earth.
Shifted, took on a special form.
He can do that.
And had
no big deal. Yeah, he has adventures in different forms. Why not? Why not? If I could shapeshift today, I would be thousands of shapes, screwing around with people. Right? I'd be a dog biting someone in the leg. I'd be like a bug buzzing around their ears. I would shapeshift all day long.
Okay.
My Lord, as a tiger, I just show up in upstate New York as a tiger, freak people out. My Lord, as the original boar within the universe, you fought and killed the great demon Hiranyaksha. Then you lifted me, the earth, from the Garbhodaka ocean on the end of your tusk. Exactly as a sporting elephant plucks a lotus flower from the water. So that was a thing. An elephant would just go in and elephants do stuff with their trunks. They're not just, they pick things and eat things, or they pick the lotus. Just as a sporting elephant plucks a lotus flower from the water, I bow down before you, my Lord.
Thank you for that little zoological nugget, Raghunath.
Oh, I've got zoological insight, and I'm a part-time botanist.
All of us who are hopelessly blind and thinking that elephants couldn't use their tusk for anything useful. But thank you for clearing that up. Okay.
Oh,
Thus
Krishna.
ends Canto 5, Chapter 18, entitled Prayers Offered to the Lord by the Residents of Jambudvipa. We're going to have more prayers next chapter as well.
And maybe the first time in a Srimad Bhagavatam in the history of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya that the word booyah was said by the speaker.
Okay.
Bug juice also.
And bug juice might be the first time in the history of the Srimad
Very
Bhagavatam that the
possible.
word bug juice was spoken about in a Srimad Bhagavatam class. There's a lot of firsts here with Wisdom of the Sages. Wisdom of the Sages. There's a lot of firsts.
Okay. Mara.
Oh, wow. The Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri is happening now. There's a link on our chat board. Thank you, Chaitanya.
Is it?
Das. It is. I've been
Are you
following
sure?
Rath Yatra things, and yes, this is exciting.
Is it Rath Yatra or Snana Yatra?
It's Rath Yatra. He had Snani Yatra, and now he's coming back.
All right.
Can I have takeaways?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Krishna is naturally controlled by love.
That's right, Raghunath. Appreciate that. With express your appreciation from that, both
Yeah.
verbally as well as bodily. I want to see.
You know what? I do. And my grumpiness today was one of my shape shifting.
Okay.
It was me shape shifting into it. I shape shifted my emotions for your benefit, for your enjoyment.
Thank you.
The devotee has a lifeline to Krishna.
That's right.
Yes. We have like on Batman, there's like the red phone, like that only you could the bat phone.
Mhm.
It's one phone that's just that's the lifeline. We have that's our Maha Mantra, that's our bhajan, that's our prayer, that's our mantra, our japa, our offering. That's the lifeline. That's the red phone, the bat phone,
Okay.
the Krishna phone.
There's a ripple effect that can radically recalibrate our lives.
I like the way I put that. That was nice.
You're great,
Illusion never
Raghunath.
leaves us happy.
It doesn't.
Well, it is fun. Illusion's fun.
Not
Could
always.
be a takeaway too. Illusion's sort of fun. Hi, I'm Raghunath.
Backtracking.
Trying to sell you illusion.
And happiness amplified.
Illusion
Well, there's illusion.
amplified.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Illusion amplified by Raghunath.
Know what you're looking for.
Yeah, you got to know.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
It was okay.
You can't find the gold unless you know what gold looks like.
We're getting a thumbs up from Chief Pag.
Thank you, Chief.
Pursue reality, not happiness.
In defense of reality.
Expect that things won't go smoothly.
They're not gonna in this
That
world.
is so pessimistic, Astuba.
No, not at all. Realistic.
And
Ooh.
and
And
Elephants' trunks are useful.
it's beyond fair. It's blessed.
oh, yeah. That was a good one. You like that one, Miss Mallory? Mallory likes it. Thumbs up for Miss Mallory. She's shape-shifting. I would love if one of the people in our Super Soul community could just shape-shift. Like, wait a second.
You're not
Wait
mad.
a second. I've never seen that cat. In the house. Ah, it's Mallory. Mallory, she's shape-shifted. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Zoomers. Thanks to everybody contributing to the message board. Thanks for all the people I pick on during the Zoom class. It's only because I love you that I pick on you. Okay, you guys, stop having your private conversation during the podcast. Srimad Bhagavatam, double it. You're reading a little bit today? Double it. How many rounds you chant? One round a day? Double it. Everything, double it. Not giving anything to the show for community support? Don't double that.
What about cutting things in half?
What's that?
What about cutting things in half? Do less.
Do less.
Like
Do less.
criticizing people, do half.
Yeah, criticizing people, do half that. You criticize all day long, criticize for 12 hours. Criticize. Whatever you're about to eat today, eat half of that. You drink 2 cups of coffee, drink 1. You're giving, $50 on Patreon, give us 25. Double it. Thanks everybody for joining the show. I want everybody to like, follow, subscribe, whatever it takes, and pass it on. Pass on the good word. Spread the good news. Like that from Christianity. This is the good news. You want to know the good news, Kostuba?
Yeah.
The soul is eternal. The soul is good. We are not born evil or sinful or broken or demented. Nah, we get trained into that stuff. We're actually pure. We're part of God. That's the good news, Kostuba. That's the good news.
Okay.
You're not sinful. You're not born sinful. Humans aren't evil. They're trained. They're poorly trained. Like the kid who was trained to drink bug juice. No. Yeah, he was trained to drink green smoothies, that kid. Juice your greens and chew your drinks and drink your food and eat watermelon with nothing else. And you can even juice the rinds.